I thought being perfect would make me loved. It didn't. My name is Margaret, and I'm 85 years old, and I spent 60 of those years trying to be the perfect wife, believing that if I did everything right, I would finally feel enough. I was 20 when I got married. Back then, nobody told you to ask what you wanted from life. They told you how to keep a husband. Keep the house clean, keep dinner warm, keep your voice soft, keep your opinions to yourself. And I was good at keeping things. I kept quiet when I disagreed. I kept smiling when I was tired. I kept forgiving when I was hurt. You might have done that too. You might know what it feels like to swallow your own words just to keep the peace. My husband was not a cruel man. That almost makes it harder to explain. He worked hard, paid the bills, never raised a hand to me. From the outside, we looked solid. People used to say, "Margaret, you're such a good wife." And I wore that like a medal. A good wife. I cooked every meal from scratch. I ironed his shirts until the creases were sharp enough to cut. I hosted holidays with a smile, even when my feet were aching and my back felt like it might give out. I told myself, this is love. Love is sacrifice. Love is service. Love is putting yourself last. Years passed, then decades. We had children, and I poured myself into them the same way. I made sure they never saw me cry. I made sure their father was always respected in their eyes. I became the glue that held everything together, and glue doesn't get noticed unless it fails. There were moments, small ones, when I felt something inside me whisper, "What about you?" I would be standing at the sink, hands in warm dishwater, staring out the window at the street, and I would imagine a different version of myself, a woman who spoke freely, a woman who took up space, a woman who did not apologize for having needs. But then the dryer would buzz, or someone would call my name, and that whisper would fade. You see, when you spend enough years being what everyone else needs, you forget how to ask for what you need. And after a while, you don't even know what that is anymore. When I turned 50, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and feeling like I was looking at a stranger. The lines on my face did not scare me. What scared me was the emptiness behind my own eyes. I had done everything right. I had followed the rules. I had been loyal, patient, dependable. And yet I felt invisible in my own life. My husband would thank me for dinner, but he never asked if I was tired. He would kiss my cheek, but he never asked what I dreamed about. And I never told him. That is the part I had to face later. I never told him. It is easy to blame the other person. It is harder to admit that you participated in your own silence. By the time he passed away, I was 78. At the funeral, people praised our marriage. 60 years, they said, shaking their heads in admiration. What a beautiful example. I nodded and accepted their words, but inside I felt something else. I felt grief, yes. But I also felt a quiet anger, not at him, at myself. I had spent 60 years being a perfect wife and almost no time being Margaret. After he was gone, the house was painfully quiet. For the first time, there was no one to cook for at 6 sharp, no shirts to iron, no schedule built around someone else's preferences. I did not know what to do with that freedom. It frightened me. Imagine being given your own life back at 78 and not knowing how to live it. Slowly, I started with small things. I painted the kitchen a color he would have called too bold. I joined a book club even though I was nervous to speak. The first time I shared my opinion out loud in that circle, my voice trembled. Not because the idea was radical, but because it was mine. And I realized something I wish I had understood at 20. Being a good wife should never require you to disappear. You can love someone deeply and still have a self. You can support a marriage without sacrificing your voice. I thought endurance was strength. I thought silence was kindness. But real strength would have been saying, "This is what I need too." If you are listening to me now, and you are still in the middle of your life, not at the end of it like I am, I want you to ask yourself a hard question. Where have you been shrinking? Where have you been polishing everyone else's comfort while neglecting your own? I am not telling you to leave your marriage. I am not telling you to burn your life down. I am telling you to show up inside it. Speak, ask, admit when you are tired, admit when you are lonely, admit when you want more. Because one day you will be 85, sitting in a quiet room, and you will look back, and you will not count how perfectly you ironed the shirts. You will count the moments you felt alive. I cannot rewrite my 60 years. I carry both pride and regret in the same hands. I loved the best way I knew how, but I wish I had loved myself with the same devotion. If this story touched something in you, tell me in the comments what moment hit you the hardest, or one change you are willing to make for yourself starting today. I would like to know that my 60 years were not wasted if they help you keep even 1 year for yourself.